Hi, Paul from PowerWashStore.com here. We're going to go over the Mike Ott from Ott's Cleaning recovery system that we built on a skid here for him. He was looking for something that he could set onto his flatbed or take on and off. We set this up so that he has multiple configurations. There's also a second skid associated with this that would allow him to set this up to either go the long way on a regular flatbed or sideways on a flatbed. It's an 8-foot long and 4-foot wide skid. We have a 200-gallon recovery holding tank here. On the top we have the two different discharge that are set up with quick connects that will allow you to take your discharge water from your recovery bin here, and you can either discharge it back into the holding tank, or you can actually take this off, connect it to some additional hoses, and run it off the truck. There are two of those, one for each of the recovery basins. Out of the bottom of the tank here, we have an 1.25 inch drain line that will allow him to drain the fluids out of the tank as he needs to. Coming back to the recovery bins here, you can see, I'm going to take this cord out of the way here. We have our recovery system itself here. Excuse me, we have our vacuum line running into it. We have the lid that is removable. You can see that what happens is when you connect your vacuum line on here, the water will come in and drop out of the lid here. We have on the back of this a vacuum brake, so when you want, excuse me, when you have the, when you want to suck, this valve will be closed. When you don't want to suck from that line, you actually just open that line and it allows the air to come through, and then you lose vacuum on the line. So it's a quick way to lose vacuum off the line when you're operating. So inside here, we can take this lid off. You can see we have a catch basin. This is designed to catch the bigger debris, cigarette butts, leaves, hair, stuff like that. Looking down inside the tank there, you can see there are two different floats here. We have one float on the right side here and one float on the left side here. The one on the left side, this lower float over here, that one is what turns your sump pump on and off for pumping out the water, your discharge water. On the right here, this is a shutdown switch. What this is wired into is wired into the vacuum system itself, and if for some reason the pump outs fail or it can't keep up with the volume to prevent the water from overfilling and coming out and running through your vacuum blower, that will lift up and kill the engine on the vacuum system itself. Coming out of the back of the system here, it's nice, this lid, it has a little lip on it here, so it actually hooks over the back of the bin, and then it drops right down over the top. Little latching tabs here. We have our discharge line here, which you can also disconnect from this point here if you wanted to. These hoses that we made are male on one end and female on the other, so if you just want to use one for recovery and discharge, you can actually extend these lines out as well with them. On the bottom of the tank here, you can see we have a drain line set up. This drain is for, if you lift it up, what this will do is, this is just a gate valve, will allow all the debris and sediment and water and stuff to drain out of here, what doesn't pump out with the pump out. That way you can flush it out a little easier for cleaning. You can connect a little 2-inch line on there or something, use a garden hose to flush out the little bit of sand or sediment that may be in there, and then close that up. So we're going to connect this line back on here. Coming out of the back of the unit here, you see we have basically like an extension cord with a special plug on it. Now these pump outs are 12 volts, so this unit is 100% self-contained. You don't need any other power source other than this thing running to be able to utilize the entire system. No generators, no 110 power, so you don't have to worry about the possibility of getting electrocuted from that. Battery box for the gas-powered Honda engine. We have a onboard gas tank. The plugs themselves will plug right into the front of the unit here, and you can see there's two different plugs. Doesn't matter if you use transfer pump 1 or transfer pump 2. I'm just going to plug this into transfer pump 2, and you can see they're color coded. You can't install it upside down because they won't go in, but you can see they're actually color coded as well. This will just plug right into the front of the unit really easily like that. We're all set. Has a 20 amp resettable breaker on it, so if for some reason the sump pump stops and you have a problem, the first thing you want to check is to make sure that that breaker has been reset. You want to make sure your plug is tight. You also want to be sure that the float isn't stuck in the off position. So if your unit stops Typically it's because it got overfull with water, and you need to either make sure that it's pumping out or something's not stuck into the pump or into the system itself that would have caused it, or this breaker tripped itself. We have our GX630 Honda motor on here. Has a high capacity charging system to be able to keep up with the pump outs and power this unit. We have our vacuum blower motor on here. What we did is we changed the orientation of this. Normally it just comes out as a T, but we changed it so that this would allow us to give us the space constraints that we needed to be able to vacuum from this and fit this all on the flatbed like you wanted. So coming out of here, we have our 3-inch or 4-inch vacuum line, 3-inch vacuum lines coming off of here that go to our unit. Those need to be hooked up all the time when you're running. Even if you're not only using one recovery bin, you're only gonna, you still have to have both these hooked up. What you can do is either just open up this valve here when the one you're not using, and then close the valve on the one you are. So this valve on the top of the tank is important. If you don't have vacuum, it's very important that you make sure that you close this valve. That will give you the vacuum. Otherwise it's just gonna suck from the easiest way it can, and that's right through the back of the unit. So this is the Mike Ott recovery system from powerwashstore.com, 855-351-9274.